Hello friends, welcome to a Lovely Yarn podcast. My name is Amber and this is a special edition. This is a podcast episode all about cardigans that I am absolutely in love with right now. Not that I'm going to knit all of these. There's a possibility I won't even knit one of these that's on this list, but I do love to peruse Ravelry and look for new patterns. And I think that if you've been around here for any length of time, you know that. So I really enjoy putting together these special episodes where I feature patterns that I have found on Ravelry. So today's episode is going to focus solely on cardigans, and I have 15 that I found for you. And I want to say up front that all of these will be linked down below in one link. So there's always confusion about this when I post this type of video. I don't link to each individual pattern on Ravelry. Instead, I make a whole bundle on Ravelry and I will link that bundle down below. So when you click on that, it'll take you right to the bundle, which is where you'll find all of these patterns, these 15 patterns I'm going to talk about. Plus, I think there's actually 30 some patterns in that bundle that you can look at. I just picked my favorite from that, and we're going to talk about those today. So yes, if you want to check out these patterns on Ravelry, make sure you click through the bundle. Another thing I just want to say is all of my social media and online presence, those links are all found down below. So yeah, if you want to find me on Instagram, that's down below, my email down below, and my Ko-Fi account. Which, speaking of the Ko-Fi account, today, if you are a subscriber to my video and you watch this video, you are eligible for a little treat, because as I do with most of these special edition, I like to give away a pattern. And the reason I say, speaking of Ko-Fi, is because you guys make that a possibility. My generous donors, those of you who generously donate to my Ko-Fi account, thank you so much. That enables me to do these giveaways with the patterns. When I do these special pattern episodes, I really like to be able to do that, because I do realize that it is tough for some people to buy a pattern. And I understand designers need to make money, but it's also nice to win a free pattern too, isn't it? So we will be doing that today as well. So when you get to the end of this episode, I will discuss that in more detail. But let's go ahead and get started. I did divide this up into kind of like different categories of cardigans. And I have to say, it was super hard for me to narrow down the cardigans I wanted to talk about, because I'm realizing more and more that as I'm getting older and I'm in that stage of life where I'm often warm, cardies are a much more practical sweater option for me than pullovers. And so now I just want to knit a bunch of cardigans. But I got 15 here, so we're going to go ahead and start with that. And like I said, I've broken this down into 4 different categories, I believe. So we're going to start out with the more simple, basic cardigans. Then we're going to move on to textured cardigans, but not cabled, just texture. And then we're going to move into the cabled cardigans. And then last, we will talk about some Colorwork cardigans as well. And I feel like I'm going to get tired of saying the word cardigan in this episode. So let's go ahead and get started now with the more simple, basic cardigan sweaters that I wanted to talk about today. And the first one is a pattern by Brianne Moody. It is called the Reunion Cardigan, and it's a $9 pattern. This is a worsted weight sweater, and it is knit. It's a worsted weight, and it has a 16 stitch gauge. I'm going to give you guys the gauge for each of these sweaters rather than the needle size, which is what I normally do, because I feel like the gauge is more important than the needle size, right? Needle size, we switch to get the correct gauge. So this pattern comes in 10 different sizes, from a 30-inch bust to a 66-inch bust. And as I said, it's a worsted weight. I think the sample that she knitted in, I think she knit the sample in Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. And this is a beginner-friendly cardigan pattern. It has raglan sleeves. It is knit top down and it's knitted flat because it's a cardigan. So you're going to see that most of these cardigans, unless they're steeked afterwards, are knitted back and forth flat. It's one piece. It's designed to be worn with no positive ease. So if you want positive ease in this cardigan, she does say it is size up. And it also has a V-neck and is cropped. The thing that stood out to me about this particular sweater was that the back is actually all stockinette, like flat stockinette, and then the two front panels are purled. So they have the purl ridges. So I thought that was an interesting variation, you know, in the fabric. And it is going to be a fast knit because it is a 16 stitch gauge. And I think you will find that a lot of these patterns that I'm featuring today are larger gauges. Moving on to the second one is the Home Cardigan by Cadre. This is a $6.50 pattern and it is knit in bulky yarn. She used a lace weight and an Aran weight held double. It comes in 9 sizes from extra small to 5XL, and it's a 15 stitch gauge. So again, a large gauge. It is meant to be worn oversized. It has a drop shoulder design and a V-neck, and she designed the pattern to hit at your hip, but she does say in the pattern description on the project page that you can tailor the length of the cardigan, you know, according to your liking. So again, this is like most cardigans. You're going to start on the back, work flat back and forth, then you're going to pick up stitches, work the front shoulders for the left and right sides, and then at the underarms you will join everything together and knit back and forth flat. And that is how this sweater is made. It also includes some short rows in the back portion of the like the upper back that you knit in to make it set better on you. Now, because this is a bulky size, I do want to say not everybody wants to wear a bulky size sweater. I'm not even sure that I want to wear a bulky size sweater or a bulky weight sweater. So I do want to mention that in the bundle on Ravelry, I've included another pattern that is very similar looking to this as far as the style of the cardigan. And it is called the Step by Step Cardi, and it is by Florence Miller, and it's knitted with a worsted weight instead of the heavier Aran weight. So if you're looking for a more, it's not lightweight, but a lighter weight cardigan, you can check that one out. So now let's move on to the more textured cardigans. And now these cardigans, their texture comes from either like changing up the purl and knitting, or some of them have lace. They just have some sort of texture worked into them somewhere, and so that is why I've called them put them into this category. So the first one is the Dunes. This is another pattern by Cadre, and it is a $6.50 pattern. It is knit in Aran weight, again on a size US 10, so it's a 15 stitch gauge, and it comes in 9 sizes from extra small to 5XL. This is designed to be worn slightly cropped. It has a drop shoulder and a V-neck, and it is constructed top down so you can easily adjust the length, which is wonderful. I actually really prefer everything, cardigans and pullovers that are knit top down, because then I can try them on as I go. And I think everyone on this list, every pattern on this list is top down except for maybe one. So this pattern also includes video tutorials in case you have any issues with it, or maybe there's some more difficult techniques. It doesn't look like it would be difficult, but she does include some video tutorials for a few things. Now, the thing that I absolutely love about this cardigan, and the thing that really pulled me into it, are those lace panels on the front. I adore that, and I actually am already, I've had this in my favorites for a long time. So before I even was prepping for this video, and I actually already have the yarn for it. I have some Drops Air that I want to use, and I don't know that it'll be heavy enough. I might be able to mess with the gauge a little bit, but if not, I might just hold it with a mohair, and that should get me up to an Aran weight. But I think this would look absolutely beautiful in that particular Drops Air. And so I have already been preparing to make this cardigan for a while. The Silver Leaf Cardigan by Along Avec Anna is another pattern that I think is absolutely beautiful. It is a $7.90 pattern. It's knit in DK weight yarn, and she uses a fingering and a lace weight. It's a 19 stitch gauge. It comes in 13 sizes. It's knitted. I don't think she put the bust measurements in the pattern, or either that or I forgot to write them down, but it's 13 different stitches or sizes. It's knit top down. It's knit in the flat. Something that's different with this one than a lot of other cardigans is it actually has like a rounded neckline that's a bit different, and then it has an I-cord edging to finish that off. And the showstopper for this sweater, in my opinion, are those beautiful lacy balloon sleeves. I love balloon sleeves. I've talked about it before. I think they're very feminine looking, that flowy look. And so the lace on those balloon sleeves just is so absolutely gorgeous. And then you must do a really quick decrease along the sleeve hem and before you start doing your ribbing to give that nice full look on your sleeve. The next cardigan is the Clotilde cardigan, and this is a pattern that was designed by Pernille Larsen. It is $6.83. It is I was a little confused by the yarn requirements. It wasn't overly clear. It says that it uses a worsted plus a lace, but then at some point in the project page, it mentioned something about holding 4 strands of yarn together. So I'm not quite sure what weight of yarn you're actually going to be knitting this sweater with, but it is going to be a bulkier weight because the gauge is actually only 10 stitches per 4 inches. So that's a really huge gauge. And I also made a note here that you're going to be knitting the sweater using size US 15 and 10 needles. So those are really large needles. I'm assuming the body's going to be knit with the size US 15 and then the ribbing with the 10. This only comes in 6 sizes. That is a little bit of a bummer. It's extra small to 2XL. You might be able to mess with that a little bit. It is a very chunky looking cardigan. It's knit top down. It is seamless. It does have short rows in the back portion to kind of help it to set well. It's a boxy fit, and it's meant to be worn as an open cardigan, but there are instructions included in the pattern on how to add a couple of buttons if you want to be able to button it up. But I just think that all over lace is just absolutely gorgeous. I think that it would probably be a really quick knit. I mean, this knit would probably just fly by because it does have the lace, which I always find lace to go by so quickly when I'm knitting it. And then also the fact that it's a 10 stitch gauge, it would just fly by. I could see this being knit in Drops Air again. I love Drops Air. I've knit a lot of sweaters in that. I get mine through Wool Warehouse, and it's a very affordable yarn, in my opinion. Relative, that price and yeah, that's all relative, but for me, it's an affordable yarn, and I think that this would be a beautiful sweater in the Drops Air. The next pattern is called the Sycamore Cardigan. This is a design by Ksenia Nadion, and this is $7.50. It is a worsted weight sweater. It's knit with a 21 stitch gauge, and the pattern includes 13 sizes from 36 to 64 inch bust. It is knit seamlessly from the top down. It has saddle shoulders and dropped sleeves. And then the button band is worked at the same time, which is absolutely lovely because, if you can get that done while you're knitting the rest of the sweater, I feel like that's such a great way to do it because then you don't have to go back and estimate as you pick up stitches. The sleeves are what's really interesting to this sweater because if you look at the pictures on Ravelry and then you read the description of it, these sleeves first of all, they're balloon sleeves. They have like some volume to them. And then they have a combination of different stitches and stitch techniques to give you the texture. So there's moss stitch, is it moss stitch? Seed stitch, I think that's pretty much the same thing. Estonian braids and baubles, all on the sleeves. And that is what makes this particular cardigan stand out to me. She also offers this, in this pattern, she offers 2 different lengths. So she has it pictured as a cropped length, but you can also just extend the length of it, which is pretty much, you can do that pretty much with any kind of cardigan unless it's like a Colorwork or it's all over lace. The texture on this next one is just absolutely stunning. I have not ever tried this stitch before, and I am not even familiar with it at all. This is the first time I've actually heard of this, but this is the Jenny Jacket V-neck by Petite Knit, and it is a worsted. It is fingering and fingering held together, or you know, could just do your worsted, and it comes in 9 sizes from extra small to 5XL. It is a 30 stitch gauge in the smock pattern, and that is important because you need to do your gauge swatch in the smock pattern. Normally, in a lot of cases when we're doing swatch, like gauge swatches, we just do them in stockinette, but this one specifically says that you need to do your gauge swatch in the smock pattern, and the gauge swatch is extremely important if you plan on knitting this sweater. And when I look at this sweater and I see all of that texture, I see lots of hours of work, so I definitely would choose to do a gauge swatch for this particular sweater. It is knitted top down, like most cardigans. Back is worked first, and then it has some short row shaping, and then you pick up and you knit the front, and then you basically you join then at the arms and knit back and forth. And when I was looking at this, I think that button band is double knitted, which is really beautiful. It's a really nice professional finishing, and I'm pretty sure it looks double knitted to me. So this is beautiful. This is one of those sweaters that I feel like it could potentially be one that I would get tired of knitting because there's so much. I feel like it might take a little bit longer, but then again, I've never done the smock stitch, so I don't know. I could be totally wrong on that, but this is one that I think would be beautiful. It would be a labor of love to have a piece like this in your wardrobe. Up next is the Magnolia Chunky, and this is by Camilla Vaude. This is a $9.11 pattern. It is knit with, I believe, bulky weight yarn. It just says all 3 used in this pattern when it gives the suggested yarn, and then it just says under yarn weight, yarn held together. So I'm assuming that that's like a bulky or a chunky weight yarn. It's a 16 stitch gauge, so that would also help you. It is only 3 sizes, or I'm sorry, it's only 6 sizes from small to 3XL, and it is seamlessly knit flat and top down, and then it has that really gorgeous lace panel at the bottom, which is why I chose this cardigan. I think that is beautiful. She also has another cardigan, the Magnolia Bloom cardigan, I think maybe it's called, that has the lacework at the top. So that's another one if you'd rather have your lacework up here, but I really liked the look of this one. I like the look of the other one, but I like the look of this one better with everything on the bottom. And I also read in this, I think it was in somebody's project page, that it is extremely important to do a gauge swatch on this as well, because the needle size, like make sure you have the right needles if you're going to take the time to knit this pattern. This next cardigan looks like it would be a pretty easy knit. It is called the Ridge Cardigan, and this is a pattern by Bluebird Pine Shop. It is $5.67, and it is knit with a worsted weight yarn. Her sample used a DK plus a lace weight, and it's 17 stitch gauge. The pattern is written for 8 sizes from extra small to 4XL. This is actually a raglan style V-neck cardigan that is knit top down and flat, and all you're doing is alternating between knit and purl rows to create those little ridges along the cardigan. It has 5 to 8 inches of ease built into the pattern, so that's an important thing to remember when you're picking your particular size, to consider that. But yeah, this is just a really simple looking cardigan, and I think after compiling this list, I think I'm really drawn to V-neck cardigans. I think that's because, like, this particular cardigan, this is my Felix cardigan, which I guess I should have talked about at the beginning. I'd never put the buttons on. They have buttonholes, but I never put the buttons on because I never wear this thing buttoned, because I don't like this up here so tight to my neck. So I just leave it unbuttoned when I wear it, which is why I think I like the V-neck cardigan, because it leaves this more open. Also, if I wanted to wear a button down underneath it, I could, of course, wear this with a button down, and I actually have, but you just would see more of the button down if you had a v-neck. I don't know. I think I'm just really drawn to v-neck cardigans at this point in my life. But yeah, so let's move on though to the next category of sweater or of cardigans. These are going to be the cabled, and I only have 2 of these because I will admit I am not a huge cabling girl. I love the look. I love the classic look of cables. I own store-bought cable knit sweaters, and I've knit cables. I have knit cables before, but never in a garment. I've knit them in socks and hats and cowls, and it's not hard. Cabling is not hard. It's just more finicky because you're moving stitches from a cable needle and then you're moving them back. And so I think it's my impatience that makes me not really prefer cable knitting, but I absolutely love the look of it. And I do want a cabled cardigan right now. I feel like with what I have in my wardrobe, and especially the dresses that I currently own, that a cropped cabled v-neck cardigan would just be a really good addition. And so I'm very much considering knitting a cabled cardigan, which I honestly never thought I would say. So here are 2 that I found that I really liked, and I'm not sure if I will end up knitting either of these. Maybe it's just a phase that I want this. It's probably not. I feel like I need to just do it and persevere because it would be a more time-consuming knit, but it would be something that I feel like I would use a lot. So that probably means I need to just do it, right? And have some patience. The first sweater is the Aguine by Fable Knitwear. This pattern is $7.48. It is a worsted weight, and her sample is knit with a DK plus a lace yarn. You're to have an 18 stitch gauge, and it is written for 7 sizes from extra small to 3XL. She did make a note in this pattern page that the reason she does not have larger sizes is because she could not find test knitters for those sizes. So if you're interested in knitting a larger size than what she has listed in the pattern, you are to contact her. So I guess maybe she would do like a informal test knit with you, and maybe you get the pattern for free. I don't know. I'm just making that assumption. But if you do need a size that's larger than the 3XL, it would be worth a shot contacting the designer. So this is the only pattern that is knit bottom up. Again, I don't prefer those because I can't try them on as I knit, but it is a really beautiful cardigan. It's knit bottom up. It has raglan sleeves. She says that the cabling that you do for this sweater is extremely intuitive. It's the V-neck and it is seamless. So it is an option. It's in the running for a potential cable knit sweater for myself. This next pattern seems to be, I think this is pretty popular, although I recently just started to see this, but I feel like, I don't know, you know how sometimes when you buy a car, then all of a sudden you see everyone else has the same car as you. I don't know that that's why I'm starting to notice this sweater more on social media accounts, but this is the Book Club cardigan by Sari Nordland. And it is, I think this is an absolutely stunning, I'm actually leaning more towards this one for the option for my cardigan if I knit it. And it is a worsted weight yarn. She used a sport weight and lace, and it's an 18 stitch gauge, 9 sizes, 37.5 to 69 inch bust. So it is a relaxed fit. It has drop shoulders, and it is knit seamlessly from the top down, which is appealing to me. And this has this beautiful diamond cable pattern, which she says in the project page that is actually a cable pattern that is suitable for beginners. It looks harder than what it really is. And again, cabling isn't hard, it's just more time consuming. So she also states that the length is easily modified, and then there are afterthought pockets. I'm trying to think. I think I did one baby sweater with pockets, and those were seamed on. So I've never done afterthought. I've never cut into my knitting purposely. So I'm really thinking about this one though, and I actually think I have the yarn. It's right up here if you can see it. I've had this yarn forever. let me pull it down. This is the Abundant Earth Fiber, Joseph and Annie in the cinnamon. And I'm thinking, this might be more of a DK. This looks like a DK, maybe. No, this is 360 yards per 100 grams. So this might actually be perfect. This might actually be a sport. It's very sunny here today, but let's see if you can, I don't know that that's picking up. It's got little specks of like brown or a tannish color, and it's beautiful yarn. It's 90% US merino and 10% Washington State targi, and I think this would be the perfect yarn for the book club cardigan, because this is the color I want for my cabled cardigan, like this nice creamy off-white color. So I don't know, guys, as much as I don't like cabling, I'm really thinking about giving this cardigan a shot. All right, my last category, I'm going to talk about colorwork cardigans. I have a hard time understanding how any knitter could not enjoy colorwork, but I know that there are those of us out there who do not enjoy colorwork. I am not one of them. I absolutely love colorwork knitting. It is one of my favorite things to do as a knitter. It's so much fun. It's just like you're painting with yarn, because you know, things are appearing as you knit. It's addictive to me because I just want to get to the next row and see what it's going to look like. I just absolutely enjoy colorwork knitting. So I had to feature some colorwork cardigan patterns in this special. The first one is a free pattern, so yay, it's the only free pattern of this episode, but this is called the Maha cardigan. This is a pattern by Helen Magnuson, and it is knit in an Aran weight yarn. Specifically, she recommends Letlopi, and I probably won't be knitting it in Letlopi. I love that Letlopi is affordable, but it's just a little bit too rustic for me. Unless I was going to wear this cardigan outside as more of a jacket, I'm probably not going to be knitting in Letlopi, because I'm not a very sensitive person when it comes to wool or fiber, but I have some Letlopi, and I can tell you right now, there's no way I want that near my neck. But that is what she knit her sweater in. And it comes in 8 sizes, from extra small to 4XL. I forgot to mention it's an 18 stitch gauge. There's not a whole lot of info on the pattern page, probably because this is a free download on Ravelry, and I didn't click through to the download to get more information, but you can check that out if you're interested. Oh, look, this is a bottom up, so I lied earlier. There's actually 2 bottom up sweater patterns, but it's a bottom up, it's knit in the round, and it is seamless, and it's stranded color work. I feel like, I don't know if this, it didn't say if it was knitted flat or if it was knit in the round and then steeked. But if it was knitted flat, I would definitely modify this pattern and add a steek section into the middle, because I have done color work flat. I do not enjoy it. I love color work, but I do not enjoy flat color work. So if this cardigan were to be knit flat, I would not. I would actually knit it in the round and steek it afterwards. Okay, this fun cardigan is called Flower Power. It is by Anna Johanna. It is actually, it's a little bit pricey. It's $12.34. But it is so beautiful. I love it so much. It's a DK weight cardigan that has an 18 stitch gauge, and it comes in 12 different sizes, from extra small to 5XL. It is knit top down seamlessly in the round, and then it is steeked after. Actually, I think so all of these colorwork cardigans are steeked. Now, let me let you in on a little secret. I have never steeked my knitting before. Never. But I'm getting to the point where, because I love colorwork and because I love cardigans, I'm going to steek, because I'm going to keep knitting colorwork, and like I said, I'm not going to knit it flat. So I'm just going to face my fear of cutting my knitting, and I am going to steek a sweater this year. That is my goal for this winter, to knit a colorwork sweater and steek it. So back to this pattern. This has this beautiful retro flower motif that I'm absolutely loving. It is, it's so much fun. I love retro florals, or like folk florals. very drawn to those kind of things, and that's why I'm loving this pattern so much. I love that flower motif. It did say that the button band is added last, which is pretty typical for cardigans. I don't know why I wrote that in there specifically. This next pattern is called the Bluebird, and this is by Rana Hakalito. This is a pattern that costs $7.93. It is knit with a DK weight yarn, and it has a 17 stitch gauge. It is knit seamlessly from the top down. The yoke does include some short rows for a better fit, and it is steeked then at the end. Okay, and this is the last pattern for this episode of Cardigans, and it is the Barberry Sweater by Zanette Knits. This pattern is $9. It is knit with a DK weight yarn, and it is a 22 stitch gauge. This pattern comes in 9 sizes from 38 inch to 70 inch bust. It is meant to be worn with 6 to 8 inches of positive ease. And this pattern, you're actually getting a 2-for-1 because it includes instructions for both the pullover version as well as the cardigan version. It's worked top down and seamlessly, and then it is steeked, and then you add all of the button bands and stuff at the end. So it's a beautiful sweater as well. I love all of the Colorwork sweaters that I featured today, and I'm really excited, and I'm hoping that this gives me a bit of a jump start and motivation to actually try steeking this year. I know it's not a scary thing. It's not even a hard thing. So I just need to jump in and do it. Now for the little treat. So for those of you who stuck through to the end and watched this, and also who are a subscriber of my channel, because I love to gift things to my subscribers because I appreciate you guys coming back time after time to watch me. All you need to do to be eligible to win a pattern is to drop a comment down below and tell me which of these patterns in my bundle, and I'm talking like my whole bundle that's on Ravelry, you would like. And then if you have a cardigan pattern, like if you don't like any of the ones I've chosen, but you have a cardigan pattern that you really want to knit, let me know what that is, and I will gift you that one if you are chosen as the winner. The way I choose the winner is I just use a random comment picker offline, and it's really easy. I copy and paste the URL for that particular video, and that is how all my winners are chosen. So everything is random and fair, and this is open to everyone, as long as you can access Ravelry, because that is how I will be gifting the pattern. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this particular episode, and I hope you found something inspiring to knit if you're looking for a cardigan to knit. Thank you again for your donations through my Ko-Fi account. That's always appreciated, and like I said, it enables me to easily do these little prizes on these special episodes. I really appreciate it so much, so thank you. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And also, if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate you liking it as well. Thank you so much for joining me here, and I will see you soon with a regular episode of A Lovely Yarn Podcast.